Have you ever wondered why society often frowns upon older men dating younger women? Let's take a journey through time and understand how societal views of age gap relationships have evolved and why these changes occurred. Historically, it was common and even expected for men to date or marry younger women. This was seen as the norm and it was rarely questioned or criticized. Age was a symbol of wisdom, experience, and stability. Younger women were viewed as capable of bringing vitality, youth, and fertility into the relationship. This dynamic was accepted and propagated across many cultures. However, as we moved into the modern era, these age gap relationships started to be viewed through a different lens. What was once considered normal gradually morphed into a taboo. The question then arises, why did this shift occur? How did an age-old practice that was once universally accepted become a topic of controversy and debate? This shift in societal views is attributed to a variety of factors. Foremost among these is the evolving understanding of gender roles. As women began to assert their independence and demand equality, they started questioning the power dynamics inherent in relationships with significant age gaps. Furthermore, society's increased focus on consent also played a critical role in this shift. The power imbalance in age gap relationships raised questions about the younger partner's ability to freely give consent. The social stigma associated with these relationships also contributed to the change in perception. Society began to view older men who dated younger women as predatory or manipulative, while the younger women were often seen as naive or gold diggers. Cultural shifts and norms also influenced this view. As societies evolved, so did their expectations and norms for relationships. In some cultures, age gap relationships are still accepted, while in others, they are frowned upon. Yet, amidst this societal shift, there are still instances of genuine connections in age gap relationships. Not all such relationships are born out of manipulation or exploitation. Some are simply a result of two individuals finding love and companionship in each other, regardless of their age. This shift in societal views is attributed to a variety of factors, which we will delve into now. A significant factor in the changing views on age gap relationships is the evolution of gender roles. As we journey back in time, we find societies where women were primarily homemakers, reliant on their male partners for financial security and social status. This often led to younger women seeking older, more established men as partners. However, the winds of change have been blowing steadily. Over the past century, we've witnessed a remarkable transformation in the role of women in society. With the advent of the suffragette movement, the rise of feminism, and the relentless pursuit of gender equality, women have been steadily breaking free from the restrictive cogs of traditional gender roles. Today, women are leaders, innovators, and trailblazers across various fields. They are financially independent, empowered, and have the freedom to make their own choices. This shift has significantly influenced perceptions of age gap relationships. With financial independence, the need for an older, more established partner diminishes. Women today have the liberty to choose partners based on compatibility, shared interests, and mutual respect rather than financial security. This changing dynamic has also brought about a sense of balance in relationships. With both partners often being financially independent, the relationship becomes less about power dynamics and more about mutual respect and understanding. This shift has led to a greater acceptance of relationships where the woman is the older partner, further challenging the traditional norms of age gap relationships. Of course, this doesn't mean that all age gap relationships today are viewed through a lens of equality and mutual respect. Stereotypes and social stigmas persist. However, the changing role of women in society has undoubtedly brought us a few steps closer to viewing these relationships with a more open mind. The shift in gender roles has undoubtedly played a part in shaping society's views on age gap relationships. Another important factor to consider is the increased focus on consent and power dynamics in relationships. As society evolves, so does its understanding of the importance of consent. This is not merely about saying yes or no, but also about understanding the factors that might influence a person's ability to give informed consent. One such factor, which is particularly pertinent in age gap relationships, is the power dynamic. Power dynamics can be influenced by a variety of factors, including age, wealth, career status, and life experience. In relationships where one party is significantly older, there can be an inherent imbalance of power. This is not to say that every relationship with an age gap is unhealthy, but rather that the potential for manipulation or coercion is heightened. Consider the stereotype of the older, wealthy man dating a much younger woman. The older man may have more life experience, more financial stability, and be at a different life stage than the younger woman. This can create a power dynamic where the younger woman may feel pressured to conform to the older man's expectations, or may not feel empowered to voice her own needs and desires in the relationship. It's also important to note that manipulation can occur in any relationship, regardless of age. However, the potential for manipulation is often highlighted in discussions about age gap relationships, contributing to the societal view of them as potentially predatory. On a more positive note, as society's understanding of consent and power dynamics improves, so too does our ability to navigate these issues. It's entirely possible for an age gap relationship to be healthy and balanced, provided both parties are aware of the potential power dynamics and make a concerted effort to ensure that consent is ongoing, informed, and enthusiastic. Turning the lens to the younger women in these relationships, it's worth noting that manipulation can be a two-way street. Just as older men can potentially manipulate younger women, so too can younger women potentially manipulate older men, perhaps for financial gain. The focus on consent and power dynamics has significantly contributed to the taboo surrounding age gap relationships. It's crucial that we continue to discuss and understand these dynamics to ensure all relationships are based on respect, equality, and consent. Cultural changes and common practices greatly impact how society sees age gap relationships. Our world is filled with lots of different cultures, each with its own rules and expectations about relationships and age. For example, let's talk about Philippines. Here, it's normal for older men to date younger women. Many Filipino women actually prefer older partners. When looking for a serious relationship, they see older men as more grown up and stable, which lowers the chance of being left for someone else. This custom is not manipulation or control. It's about the understanding of growing up and stability in society. It's a different point of view that questions the Western idea of age gap relationships. More than ever before, people are seeing that age is just a number, and it doesn't limit relationships. We're starting to see older men dating younger women not as something wrong, but as a personal decision, liking. But it's important to remember that these changes don't happen quickly. They're slow, often taking a long time to completely happen, and they're not the same everywhere. What's okay in one culture might still be seen as wrong in another, but change is happening. As we keep questioning and changing common practices, we get closer to a world where all types of relationships are seen as okay. In the end, cultural changes and common practices have a big impact on how society sees age gap relationships. They show us that our views on relationships are not set in stone, but can change, always moving with cultural changes. In light of these factors, some people have adopted the half your age plus 7 rule when it comes to dating. This rule of thumb is a simple calculation used to understand the socially acceptable age difference between romantic partners. It suggests that the youngest person you should date is someone who is half your age plus 7 years. For example, if you're 40 years old, according to this rule, the youngest person you should date would be 27. That's half of 40, which is 20 plus 7. This rule is not a hard and fast one, but more of a guideline to help navigate the often tricky world of dating and age differences. It's important to note that this rule is not about controlling people's choices, but rather offering a guideline that can help individuals avoid awkward social situations or potential misunderstandings. Of course, the rule has its limitations and can't apply to every situation. The half your age plus 7 rule can serve as a useful tool in mitigating the taboo surrounding age gap relationships. By providing a guideline for age differences, it can help individuals better understand what might be considered socially acceptable when choosing a partner. However, it's crucial to remember that this rule doesn't define all relationships. Respect and mutual understanding are far more important factors in a relationship than age. The rule is more about societal norms and expectations rather than a rigid rule to be strictly adhered to. Furthermore, it's important to remember that societal views on age gap relationships can vary significantly across different cultures and time periods, as we've discussed earlier. While societal views on age gap relationships have changed over time, it's crucial to remember that every relationship is unique and should be judged on its own merits, rather than societal norms and expectations.